Hi everybody, it's Lace, and I've been wanting to do a video on hats, and I've got on a little stag hat, which is now called headdress as of R50, so it's kind of good I waited because I would be calling them hats and they're now headdresses, but look at my antler shadows. I'm like a big giant scary tree on the ground. Anyway, with the various headdresses, and then of course some things are called hats and whatnot, and there's different types. Some of these you can masterwork, some of these you can enchant, and I wanted to go over some of the inherent stats in some, and then the other types of hats. So you can give yourself a pretty unique look without a pattern, without anything from the add-on store, just by changing up your hat. Now, you used to be able to go to a tailor and get the recipe for a stag hat, a wolf hat, and a bear hat, like what I've got on. Each one of these had different stats. Now, I'm finding that these recipes are now dropping off the barbarians now as stag headdress, wolf headdress, and bear headdress. I don't know if they've been removed from the tailor, but I'm going to guess that since the recipes are now dropping. Anyway, each one of these has inherent stats. So if I look at the stag, we see that it has 3 int and then some combat dodge. The wolf, 3 dex, combat dodge, and then showing compare current equipment, which is the bear, 3 strength. The boar, for some odd reason, it's called, let's see, Clan of the Boar Hat, there it is, and it has 1 dex, 2 strength, and then that same combat dodge. All of these are light armor, so I guess you could pattern them with a leather light armor. But they're already kind of patterned in so much how they look. Let's see how the boar, if you haven't seen the boar yet. There's the boar. Got to snort when you put on the boar. I don't know. It just feels like the right thing to do. So anyway, yeah, it has the base stats is 2 strength, 1 dex, and that's before enchanting and masterworking. Now, all 4 of these types of hats can be enchanted in masterwork. Additionally, new in R50, they have the primal bear, which is a little bit harder to craft, and I don't have one on me because I'm still short 1 bear tooth and I just haven't had time to go out and hunt for it. And then there's also a dragon head one, which you obviously need to be able to skin a dragon and get a dragon head from. And I'm sure they're pretty fancy looking. I just haven't got one to show you. And also I'd be pretty scared to masterwork and enchant those, especially the dragon head. But I'm sure that you can do that as well. So these are four types of pretty easy to get hats that just give you a more, different, unique look. Now, since they're all light armor, what if you're a heavy armor user? Well, let me show you a hat for that. 1 second. So a while back, as part of the rewards from one of the telethons, you got the Virtue Miner's helmet. If we do a comparison here, that's the one that I've got on. And if you look at it, you can see that the frame shows yellow around the light versus this one that shows a white light. I find the white light much easier to see, especially in dense forest areas besides mines where it's dark. The yellow light is just not as easy to see stuff around you. So I actually prefer the crafted one. And because these are metal, and if I look at it again in comparison, because these are metal, so they're going to work with your plate armor or your chain armor. They're a heavy armor, and you can enchant and masterwork them as well. So I find, I don't know, I like the white light better than the yellow, and I can enchant it and stuff. So the same stats that I'd get from, say, making a chainmail coif or a plate helmet, or if I'm in, into leather or cotton, from those helmets, I can get the same benefits in the bear stag and stuff with some base stats already added to them, and then enchant them. Or if I'm using if I'm a heavy plate type of person, or a heavy armor type of person, I can use this great mining helmet. I don't have to go around casting light and stuff. And even if you're in light armor, you could go around wearing this mining helmet and not have to constantly keep that light spell up. Because once again, the light spell also is that yellow glow rather than this pure white light that you get from the miner's helmet. So that's why I prefer the miner's helmet. I like the white light better. It just looks better in the game, and I can see a little bit better for me. One other quick thing to point out as I go over these headdresses, I was saying combat dodge modifier. Well, that's obviously based on the type of strap that I used. I just used basic leather. If I used a fustian or carapacian or hardened leather or something like that, obviously that stat would change. The same thing is true on the miner's helmet. If I look at my character, this one I made out of bronze, so it takes on the abilities of the bronze sheet, which is weapon damage and damage resistance. Very nice. You could also make them out of meteoric and everything else. So again, really love the miners helmets, as since I typically run around in a chain set, it works for me. Now the way set abilities go, like, okay, so I'm on a cloth one right now. If I was in all cotton or all cloth, you get a armor set requirement. You know, as long as you have the same armor type on, you get a 10% damage resistance. Now right now I've got a whole mixed match of stuff. I don't even know what all I've got. Light, cloth, leather, light, leather, and probably the helmet's breaking my bonus. But depending if you have the same type, you get those bonuses. I haven't really played around with, I'm pretty sure that you don't have to have the same type of helmet as you do armor. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, so I just threw on some all chain stuff, and I was able to put on the light armor bear with the stuff, and you can see that it shows that my damage resistance from the chain set, the set bonus, is active. So that's nice. So just keep that in mind, that you could use a nicer looking light armor piece with your heavy set and still get your heavy armor bonus and stuff. A couple other things called hat that can be enchanted in Masterwork is the cotton wizard's hat. And if I look at its inherent abilities, it's just got the bolt of cotton cloth, but then it has a 1.1% spell critical chance bonus for wearing the wizard's hat, and then everything else is going to be dependent on the materials. And then you have the perennial farmer's hat, which again is just going to take on its regular stats. There's nothing, it's not like the bear hats or the stag hats, but if you're wanting to go with more of an RP look or feel to your character, you know, at the cost of stats. But remember, stats are not everything. I run around, after you get up there and, you know, a little bit higher adventure levels, you can run around in no stat gear, so you can run around with something that just looks a little bit more to fit your, you know, personal persona. This is the hat that I typically wear for our fishing derbies and put all of our referees in. And then the cotton wizard's hat, well, it looks just like a wizard's hat. So those are two more that you can do. You can't do the holly wreath hat, the band hats, the fancy band hats. You can't master work or enchant them, but they are choices to wear. There's even a paper hat, if you, or which almost looks like a dunce cap. These are other choices that you could wear, but again, you cannot enchant or masterwork them at this time as of R50. So again, using my handy dandy crafting school, yes, that's self-promotion there. I've got pretty much all the hats on here except for the two brand new ones. And some more that you cannot master work or enchant is the cotton floppy hat, the stovepipe hat, and the brown fur hat. And the funny thing is, the brown fur hat looks just like pretty much the hats that the barbarians are wearing. So probably after I get done doing this video, I'm going to give a list of all these hats, this one, 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 that cannot be masterworked or enchanted. They're all light armor. I don't see why we can't have them masterworked and enchanted. It just gives a little more variety. It's not going to be game-breaking stats. I'm not asking for them to have the stats like the bear or the wolf headdress, the stag, and the bear. They each have inherent properties. I'm not asking for new properties. Just let us masterwork or enchant these so that folks can have a more custom look. At least that's how I feel about it. And especially the band hat, because look at this. Let's see if I got my hat here. What is that? Fancy one-man band hat. This is my favorite hat. I love this hat. Oops, not unlock, equip. The reason I like it is because it's my leather daddy look when you dye it black. I'd really love to have that masterworker enchanted, but that's just me. The other thing to show are we have some tiaras and circlets, and these were brought into the game after a lot of the ladies asked for something that looked, you know, wasn't a crown or anything that came with the backer rewards, but just something, and they're not, You know, you can see the circlet, it's simply just a band, and the fancy just has a different color. But the thing is you can just make these out of iron. You can make them out of any metal, but the problem is they don't take the properties of the metal. So they're purely cosmetic, yet you can enchant them, but you can't masterwork them, even though you make them on the blacksmithing table, and they quote unquote count as armor and stuff. And the same thing with the tiaras. They don't take the properties of the metal they're created from, like let's say the miner's helmet does. And for one, I think that they should, and then two, I think you should be able to masterwork and enchant them as a different type of helmet, quote unquote hat, to wear, just to give people more choices and not necessarily having to always get some kind of head pattern for your head. And they've already said many times repeatedly that you are not going to get the option to hide your helmet because that breaks PvP because people can't see what you're wearing. Well, I don't know. I don't exactly get that argument because I could be wearing a plain bucket helm, or I could be wearing a bucket helm plus 13. So to know the difference between that, I can't see that visually. Oh, well, I guess I could, quote unquote, with the enchantment. But again, why can we enchant it but not masterwork it? And regardless, there would be a quote unquote glow on the item, I guess, for these PvP folks to know that I'm wearing some type of enchanted gear. It just seems we need to try to get them to make everything the same. And so after I finish the video, I will, you know, like I said, do the list of the things that we can enchant or can't masterwork or can only do half on. See if we can get these flags removed or get everything synced up to where we can perform the same things on all the different types of headpieces and stuff, and not be reliant on patterns, and be able to use what's already in-game and built in, and just extend it to make our hunting a little bit happier if we need the stats and stuff, especially as a low player. And like I said, as a higher player, I wear no stat gear, so it's not a big deal. I can wear something that makes me feel like a person and RP and stuff. But as a lower level, you need the ugly statted gear. So why make lower players have that penalty? I don't know. Just food for thought, folks. Hopefully, when I get this posted up, you'll comment on it, whether you agree or disagree, or agree to disagree. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for hats. Hopefully, I've covered most of them. If I missed any, sorry, my bad. Try to get a little bit of everything made up and stuff. So take care, everybody. Happy hunting and be safe.